How much is enough? We're not talking about Ferraris or keeping up with the Joneses. We're talking about a real life question that everyone has. How much money do I need to retire? Unfortunately, there's many stories out there, like one of my family's members, who recently planned on retiring only to be met with the news that they didn't have enough savings to meet those retirement goals. Fortunately, you can avoid that situation with some proper education and financial planning. And in today's video, we're gonna be talking specifically about a business owner, one that sold his business for $5 million. In the top 3 myths that we bust about financial planning in retirement that not only apply to that business owner, but apply to everybody trying to answer that one question: how much is enough? Although they'll be richer than they ever are on paper, they're not gonna have any income. And that's gonna be one of the threads that flows throughout this entire video as we bust 3 myths. And when I think back to my childhood, one of my favorite moments with my dad was watching Mythbusters. One of those classic shows on the Discovery Channel where we learned all about science, we learned about myths, and we learned about busting those myths. And today, we're not gonna be talking about Mythbusters, we're not gonna be pulling any Mark Rober, but we're going to be talking about those financial myths that you need to be thinking about as you're approaching retirement. Whether you're just starting out or you're a business owner making millions of dollars, this video is for you. Myth number 1, you can't retire until age 62 because you're going to lose your health insurance with no way to get it back. Well, believe it or not, we recently had this come up with a business owner. He was selling his business for $5 million, and he was being told that he should wait another 5 years to sell his business and retire, all because of one thing: health insurance. Well, news to him, he was actually able to get better coverage at a lower cost on the marketplace by selling his business and moving out of his group health insurance plan. The crazy part is there are tons of Americans in this same boat, both ones that own a business and ones that are simply taking the steps appropriate for retirement. So if you don't think you can retire until age 62 because of health insurance, you need to bust that myth. There are plenty of options out there for you. You just need to make sure that you have somebody in your corner that can educate you on the best options for your needs. Myth number 2, the 4% rule is the best withdrawal rate to use when thinking about retirement planning. I hear this over and over and over again, whether it's from somebody who's just starting out, who's 25 years old, or somebody who's 60, who's right at the edge of retirement. They think that they should be taking their portfolio value, multiplying it by 4%, and that gives them the amount of money that they can spend in retirement. Newsflash, this is not the best way to think about your retirement planning. Rather, there is a better way that takes a more dynamic approach, and I'm gonna share it with you. When you think about retirement planning, there are 2 big factors that you must take into account. Number 1 is how many years you have in retirement. If you retire at age 30 versus age 60, your withdrawal rate's gonna have to be less than 4% because you have a longer time frame. But rather, if you retire close to 65, rather than your withdrawal rate being 4%, it might be able to be 6%, which is a huge difference for those looking to retire, both on the younger end and on the older end. Number 2 is being mindful of the ups and downs that are going to come from the market. And this is something you need to be very conscious of, because if you're just taking a straight 4%, you're going to be leaving money on the table. You need to be able to take more money out when your portfolio is up, like hopefully it has been the last couple of years, or you need to be able to tighten your belt when the market's down in years like COVID, 2008, the tech bubble. We need to be mindful of the conditions of the market. After all, life to get here wasn't linear, and neither should your retirement plan. So make sure you're taking those 2 things in account so you can bust the myth of the 4% rule and retire in a way where you can spend even more money and enjoy your life more. So whether you're just starting out or you just sold that business for $5 million, don't take that basic approach and expect that you can take your investment portfolio and multiply it by 4%, and that's gonna give you the amount of money you can spend on a yearly basis. Rather, take those 2 things into account and put yourself in a position where you could spend even more money and enjoy your retirement even more along the way. Myth number 3, the 401k is your foolproof way to have a successful retirement. Well, let me share a story with you. One of my smartest friends, he's one of those talking heads on CNBC, works at a really big financial institution, always likes to call me about my content, tell me what's right, what's wrong. You know, that guy. We all have that friend they're your smartest friend. And he told me the story about his 401k that I just had to share with you. He has been maxing out his 401k since age 21 years old. He's currently 55, so he's been maxing out his 401k for 34 years in a row. Honestly, really impressive. But he informed me that he has roughly $2.5 million in his 401k plan. And one of his biggest concerns about retirement as a whole, when he thinks about Americans, is that everyone's relying on the 401k for that foolproof plan. But for him, he's been maxing out for 34 years, and he doesn't have enough money in there to be able to retire with the same lifestyle that he's living right now. So what's your takeaway? Whether you're just starting out or whether you're about to sell your business in the future, you need to make sure you're taking into account all the different assets you own. These can be your 401k assets. This can be your home. This can be a business asset. It can be your taxable brokerage account. It can be your individual retirement account or your Roth IRA. These are all different buckets that you could be putting money into as you approach retirement. And my one encouragement to you is that as you think about the 401k, it is not the foolproof way for you to have a successful retirement. That is a myth that we need to bust today. We've busted the 3 myths for retirement. So what should your takeaway be? Maybe you're just starting out and putting your first dollars away towards retirement. Or you're a business owner 1 year away from selling their business and cashing in your chips. What I would encourage you to do is think about those 3 myths and make sure that you apply them to your life. And if you're that business owner getting closer to sell their business, the plans that you make today are going to determine the success of your retirement for the next 1, 2, or 3 decades. So I would really encourage you to get answers to those myths and don't let them stop you from having a successful retirement. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel below. We're gonna be putting out more and more content just like this. And we just did another video where we talk about the new tax rates that just got released by the IRS right here. Check it out.